Hello there, Libras. Thank you so much for stopping by for your bi-weekly tarot reading. We are looking at one particular life cycle for you right now. So this is one life cycle that you're going through at the moment. We're going to look at a life cycle basically sets us up to learn something or experience something. So we're going to look at the setup, we're going to look at the lesson or the experience, and we're going to look at what happens as you incorporate that lesson or experience into your life, Libras. So I've cleared the cards already before turning on the camera. I'm just putting a final shuffle on them, and then I will put them down. Hello there, Manuela. Thank you for the thumbs up, my dear. Let's see. Oh, we have cards starting to fall. Let's take the ones that are face up, and then the face down one. Libras, I think you have a lot on your mind. Just the way those cards came out, and also the way that I was shuffling longer than I would normally shuffle for somebody whenever I'm getting ready to do a spread. So that tells me that there's a lot of different things that we could look at for you right now, Libra, that would be helpful. But we are focusing on what jumped out. You have Libra rising and moon? Okay. All right, let's get started, shall we? So, first card that comes up does talk to me about your environment. Now, in your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Typically, it's going to be home, but I have had clients tell me, "Oh, that's work or that's school." So you want to be a little bit open about where you have energy invested as far as environments and what this might be talking about. But what I'm hearing is that the environment that you're in now, your self-esteem is coming up. It's something that makes you feel good about yourself and about the environment that you're in, either way. So you may have recently upgraded your environment, or you may have just redecorated or made some additions to your environment, or maybe you even have a new work environment that feels better. And either way, you're in an environment that is very supportive and uplifting for you, helping you to find your own self-worth and your own self-confidence. All righty. Next card we have talks to me about your subconscious leanings, Libra. And what we have here is a card that talks about knowing that it's perfectly appropriate and logical to let something go, but having a hard time letting that go. And so your subconscious is really working on, okay, how come I'm having such a hard time letting this go? How come it seems logical to let it go, but yet I'm not feeling like I can? And so your subconscious is kind of working at that puzzle, trying to unravel that puzzle of what's going on, what's causing that blockage so that you're having a hard time moving forward. So your subconscious is working on, how can we get past that? How can we fix that? Next. Next. What we have coming up talks to me about two different things. Talks to me about your learning style, first off, and then talks to me about your communication style, secondly. Libras, as far as learning style, you guys can be very detail oriented. And when you're learning something, you want to drill all the way down to all the details and understand how each working part moves together. Excuse me, you're very thorough in your learning style, especially as it pertains to this particular life cycle. Now, as far as communication style, Libra, it seems to me like when you're looking at other people that you're communicating with, it seems like you feel like what you are meaning and what your intentions are obvious to everyone around you. You think you have the idea that you're very transparent, you're very clear, you're very open, that people know easily what you're up to and what you're about and what you want them to know. The thing is that even though you think that, you're not actually communicating all those things all that well. You're kind of being yourself in front of people and expecting them to know and understand, but you haven't actually communicated what your intentions are and what you're all about. So the things that people might need to know about you, you may want to consider stepping up the communication, not just being who you are in front of them and expecting them to understand. Because the sense that I get from this card is that's not totally working. They aren't really understanding. They're missing some of the hints and clues that you're giving them silently through your body language or whatever. So here's the thing, Libras, when it comes to communication, we can always say, it's not my fault. I told you. But if we're not aware of if the other person actually heard us and was listening to us whenever we told them, in up whatever way, whether we told them body language or whatever, if we're not paying attention to whether they caught the message or not, yeah, our communication wasn't the best it could have been there. We have to carry a little bit of that responsibility. Okay. So just want you to be aware. Communication is something that you may want to be working on during this time frame. Next, what we have coming up is work. Now, those of you who have been with me for a while know that I see work in two ways. I see work as that thing that you do to support yourself, or if you don't work in a way to support yourself, then that's what you do to feel productive in the community. So either one of those is one way that I see work. The other way that I see work is what we do to improve our own inner character for our own pleasure, for our own selves. Okay. So as far as outer work, that work about feeling productive in the community and making some skrilla, making some money, it looks to me like there's something going on at work that makes it a real struggle. And for a lot of you, what I'm seeing, Libras, is there's something that's going on, some kind of interpersonal dynamic with somebody else at work that's making it a struggle. It's not actually the work itself as much as it's the interaction with somebody that is connected with your work or is at your place of work. And it is becoming a little bit of a struggle. Now, um, as far as inner work, Libras, I feel like you've had a hard time paying attention to yourself lately. I feel like you've been so focused on other people, 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 other people. You've kind of forgotten to look at yourself and what do you need? You know, your head has been turned by paying attention to other people, but you haven't been taking care of you. And it's been going on for a long time because I don't think you even know exactly what makes you happy anymore. It seems like what makes you happy seems like a far, long distant memory. And you're having a hard time even remembering the specifics of what it was that made you happy before. Okay. So inner work is coming to that realization that, hey, I'm not quite sure what makes me happy because I've been so busy making other people happy. And then the next step on that inner work is figuring that out. What does make me happy? Do the things that made me happy when I was 5 or 10 years ago, do those things still make me happy? Or is it something else now that's really going to get my creative juices all flowing again? Get me excited, make me wake up with something to look forward to. Okay. So that's what we have going on in that area as far as work on yourself. Next, what we're looking at is that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. What we have coming up is the eel. Now, this talks about that you are learning to find solutions in places that maybe other people wouldn't look. You're thinking outside the box, Libra. You're not letting culture and society tell you what your particular answers should look like. You are finding solutions that are not conventional. and yet they work for you really well. All right. Now, next thing we have coming up is that thing that you stand for. This card tells me that you find communication to be very important. And isn't that interesting? Because in this card, we were seeing that communication can kind of be a challenge for you right now. But communication, very important. Now, when this card comes up in this position, what it tells me is that there is someone you've been communicating with or something you've been communicating about, and someone has said to you, can you just shut up already? Why are we still talking about this? Or why are you still talking to that person? And you've had to stand up for yourself. You've had to say, well, because I have legitimate reasons. I have legitimate reasons to talk about that person or to talk to that person. I have legitimate reasons to still be talking about this thing that's ongoing in my life. And so you're standing up for the idea that it's fine for you to be communicating about whatever this is or to whoever this is whenever somebody comes at you. Okay. Next is how other people perceive you, Libra. You guys have the seer card. They see you as somebody who knows things innately and knows things that are very deep about them. Okay. They see you as understanding them at a deeper level than most people do. All right. Oh, that's such a bummer, man. Well, okay, so let's see. All of that stuff that we've talked about so far is present tense, Libras. Next, we're going to talk about things that may or may not have already started in your life, so you may or may not recognize these. These may be coming up in the future, or maybe only one of them is coming up in the future. Maybe you're already walking through the rest of them. You'll recognize where you are whenever I'm walking through this. Okay, so what we're looking at for your lesson or experience, Libra, is the Six of Bows in reverse. Six of Bows in reverse to me means a couple of things, and I think that both of these are going on whenever I feel around about this for you, Libra. First of all, Six of Bows in reverse means that you're feeling lack. You're feeling like you don't have enough to do all the things that you want to do. Maybe you're feeling like you don't have enough to do all the things that you need to do. But this is a lack card when it comes in reverse. Now, the other way that this card comes up is that you're not creating pleasant memories. The memories that you're creating with somebody are not so hot. They're kind of negative. They're kind of things that you would not want to look back and remember, actually. Let's put it like that. That's the best way to say that. And I have the strong sense that as far as emotionally, as far as making these memories that you wish you didn't have to look back and see, I think that this has to do with whoever it is that you're having a hard time letting go of in your subconscious. And your subconscious is working around that. Meanwhile, you're looking for creative solutions. But even when you find some kind of creative solution to spend some time with this person and hope that you can make, some kind of good memories, then those memories turn out to be things you would not really want to go back to. Okay. And then as you are in the midst of trying to make some kind of good interaction, some kind of happy interaction, some memories that you would want to look back at, you do have some things going on. One of those things is that you're finding that this person that you thought was your friend and you thought was somebody that you could trust, you're finding that you don't enjoy their company so much. They may even be really getting on your nerves. You're not that happy with them. You're not that happy spending time with them. Okay. And the other thing that we have coming up, we have my respect card in reverse. Now, this card talks about going into new territory that you haven't been into before, where there's no good guidebook. You have to feel your way around through it. But this card comes in reverse. So what this tells me, Libra, is that you have gone into that new territory where there was no guidebook and you had to feel your way through because there was nobody to tell you how to do it, how to deal with any of it. and it was overwhelming. It became too much. And as it became too much, you realize, whoa, I got to get out of here. I'm in over my head. And so you're backing out of that new territory. I think you're coming back out of that new territory now, and you're stepping back. You want to regroup. Not to say that you won't go into that territory again. You may or you may not. But for right now, you're feeling like you're in over your head and you need to just step back and have a chance to sort things out in your own mind and process things before you go back into that again, or before you even decide if you want to go back into that new territory again. Okay. And then the last card kind of reinforces a little bit what that other card just said. So here you've got the Woodward. And the Woodward is somebody who he judges things. He's kind of like the karmic judge of the forest, basically. He decides if there has been something gone on that has not necessarily had a good outcome, it's up to him to decide, did the person who was in control of this, if there was anybody in control of it, if the person who was in control of this actually intended the outcome that came, or if they intended something else and then things went off track and they didn't know how to fix it and things went out of control and ended up the way they did. Because it's the Woodward's job to either slay a person who was malicious and cause problems, or to offer compassion to that person. He has to decide, though, before he can do that. He has to decide, what is it that they deserve? And this is where you are after you back out of that new territory because it's overwhelming. You're deciding, you're making a judgment call. Wait a second. Was that situation so rough because the other person was intentionally making it rough? Or was that situation rough because of other reasons? You're having to make this judgment call here. All right. And so that's what we have showing up for you, Libras. That's the end of that life cycle. And actually, making that judgment call will be the beginning of your next life cycle. So that's what we've got for you. I do want to remind you, if you would like to have a private reading, of course, that's the best way to look at your own specific energy instead of just these general energies. And I am available for private readings. I offer them $100 for 30 minutes, $150 for 45 minutes, or $200 for 60 minutes. Excuse me. And then if you would like to have just one or two questions answered, I do have a 1-question recorded reading or a 2-question recorded reading. 1 question is $30 and 2 questions are $53. And then, of course, a lot of you know I am a Reiki master. So if you would like to have a long distance Reiki session, I do offer those as well. Those are $93 and the sessions last an hour. Okay. So thank you everybody for being here and for keeping me company. That happened for you today. Very cool, Manuela. Thank you for the verification. Thank you guys for keeping me fresh and on my toes. Thank you for the thumbs ups. Those get me in more people's feeds. And thank you also for sharing this video. Those of you who are helped by it and know other people who could be helped by it. Thank you for sharing that, because of course, when you do put time and energy into a video like this, you want to get in front of as many people as possible because you want to be able to help as many people as possible. So you guys getting me out there and getting me in front of more people is much appreciated. Everybody have a fantastic, wonderful, thrilling evening, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.